Gelli Plate prints with patterns and textures. You will need 4 pieces of printing paper, a pencil, items to make texture and pattern. Hello artists, Mrs. Castle here, and we are going to learn how to create patterns and textures on your Gelli Plate to make prints more interesting. Okay, I've got in this blue basket, there are a bunch of things that you can use to add pattern and texture into the paint on your Gelli Plate before you begin, or before you print. So I've got square bubble wrap, I have big round bubble wrap, I have regular bubble wrap, I've got some screen that would go in your window, I have onion sack, I've got some ribbon that has, that's kind of crocheted or whatever. I've got some of these, whoops, it's for later, some of these little things that watercolor refills come in, and I've got parts of silk flowers that were kind of broken and torn up. I also have a toilet paper roll that I put some yarn on, and I've got grippy mat. Let's see, I've got another toilet paper tube roll that I'll show you another technique with that. Okay, those are most of the things that we've got, and I'll use a few of those, and then you can try things out with the rest. So experimentation is important with this. All right, so I've got my Gelli Plate, I have my placemat. I'm gonna just leave my Gelli Plate in that blue. I need printing paper. I want you to do 3 to 5 prints each time you're printing, just so you have lots to pick from and you can practice. Okay. And I have my paints and my brayer up here. All right, so first thing is we always put our name on everything. Put your name and your period. That helps me sort them the next morning. I always take the prints or paintings off of the drying rack the next morning. You do not go digging around on the drying rack to find your work. I take it off the drying rack and I sort it, and then I can put it out for each class each day. I'm probably not gonna do all of these, but let's just be prepared. All right. Okay, so now let's get down to business. The fun part. Okay. Okay. I'm going to, we'll start with orange. Oops. Put a little paint on the Gelli Plate. Remember from our first video, you don't need a lot of paint, and we're not using the serrated edge to put the paint onto your Gelli Plate. There should be, I think I'll have a tool for each color that we have to apply the paint to the block or your Gelli Plate. Try to keep your placemat clean so I don't have to print new ones every period. Roll out the paint into a thin layer. Okay, I'm going to roll out my blue first a little bit. Make it even. Then I'm going to clean my brayer, and then I'm going to do my orange a little bit. And I'm letting my orange go into my blue a little bit because the blending will look cool later. cleaning my brayer. Always clean off your brayer in between. Okay. Now that I have my paint on there, I'm gonna
3. Make all over pattern. Choose a tool for this quickly.
do some texture. And the first thing we're gonna look at is like an all over texture or pattern, an all over pattern. So I'm gonna fold this and I'm gonna double this. And I'm gonna kind of place it on top. I'm not gonna try not to touch it. Actually, no, I'm not gonna double it. I'm gonna just
4. Center the printing paper on top of the pattern item and the plate.
lay that on top of there, and I'm going to center my paper in my placemat.
Apply firm pressure all over the plate. Be careful not to move your pattern item. It will smear the paint.
And then I'm going to rub firmly because you want the paper to get down in between the little holes. All right, okay.
6. Pull your print.
Then I'm going to pull my print off, and that makes my texture. Now, if you look at this, there's still kind of a lot of paint left, even though I got a pretty good print.
7. Put the print on the drying rack immediately.
Remember, these go on the drying rack immediately.
8. Make second prints whenever possible.
Now, there's another thing called a second print that we can do. If there's a lot of paint left on your block, you can do a second print right away. I'm not going to add anything new. I'm just going to center my paper and rub. I pull my print off, and it didn't get all the paint off, like right here, but it got some of it, and we can use this again later, and I'll return to this in a little bit. So that one you might not want to put on the drying rack right away. So that's all over pattern. So let's do a print that has
Part 2. Create partial patterns.
that we can do partial patterns on. So I'm getting some paint. Oops, don't want to put that on there.
1. Put paint on your Gelli plate.
Okay, I'm going to roll this out a different way this time.
2. Roll out the paint.
I'm going to roll my green, or spread my green. I'm going to clean off my brayer. We're going to keep these papers that you clean your brayer on because they are very cool. And the first time we did this, I had students just slap another paper on top of this, and they stick together. Don't do that. You can just put this right on the drying rack when it gets full. So I'm gonna get some yellow. Wipe off my knife because I only brought one knife over. Okay, it's starting to get half and half, and we never want half and half.
3. Clean your brayer.
So I'm going to clean off my brayer.
4. Lay your brayer on its back.
Okay, so with your brayer, always turn it upside down and lay it on its back, because if I put this down, the acrylic paint starts to dry and the paper will stick on your brayer, and that's kind of a pain. It'll make weird marks in your print, so you don't want that.
5. Select 2 or 3 pattern items to press on the plate.
Okay, I'm going to take a texture, a pattern item or a texture item, and I'm going to press it into part of my, and I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to kind of be careful, oops, because sometimes it pulls up. I can reposition that a little bit and press it in. And I'm going to use it again here. Okay. All right.
6. Center the paper on the Gelli plate.
Okay, now I can take my print.
Seven. Rub firmly with the flat of your hand.
Center the paper.
Eight. Pull your print.
And it even picked up some of the onion bag from before. Okay, that's okay.
9. Put your print on the drying rack.
And on the drying rack immediately. All right.
Part 3. Multi-layered prints, or reuse an older print.
Okay, let's try another one. And I'm going to bring back that partial, I'm going to bring back this partial one. So this time,
1. Put paint on the Gelli plate.
I'll use some more yellow. And I'm gonna do a little bit of orange here at the end. Oops, that's a chunk. We don't want chunks. And let's throw a little bit of white in the middle. And might be a little bit much, so I'm going to take some off. Oh, actually, I'm going to leave that on there, and I'll show you what to do if you get too much ink or too much paint.
Spread the paint into a thin layer.
I got a bigger brayer because I want this to go one direction. Oops. Be careful of that. And that kind of blends it. Oops, and I'm dripping other water on the. Okay, I'm gonna lay it on its back so it doesn't dry and stick to the paper.
3. Press patterns onto the plate.
Do some partial texture. I'm being really careful so I don't get a lot of the paint in so I don't pick up a bunch of paint with my hand. Okay.
4. Center the paper over the Gelli plate.
All right, now I'm gonna take this. I don't want the orange to overlap, so I'm gonna make sure I flip it over so this orange is with the yellow. I'm gonna line it up again.
5. Rub firmly all over the Gelli plate.
If it's not perfect, it's okay. So I'm doing a 2-layer print this time.
Six. Pull your print.
Okay. Which can look kind of cool. And doing the experimenting, trying things out, we find out what we like and what we don't like, and that will be useful when you get to your wow. Okay.
Part 4. Take advantage of leftovers from a previous print.
Let's try So let's do one more. And, oops, I'm gonna add some blue.
1. Put paint on the Gelli Plate.
And that's kind of a chunk there. If you see chunks, pull them out.
Two, spread the paint into a thin layer.
Okay, I'm gonna roll my blue entirely over what I had there. So we're gonna take advantage of the, oops, forgot to show you what I was gonna do if there was too much.
2B, if there's too much paint on the plate, clean your brayer.
Okay, if you have too much paint, just roll off or clean off the extra, and then you can roll again. You can run your brayer over it some more and pull some off. You can really tell, I can see my white and my yellow there better since I pulled some, my brayer took some of the blue off.
3, add pattern and texture.
Okay, I'm gonna put some texture in there, some pattern, and I promised I would show you about the toilet paper rolls. Okay, I'm gonna roll that across, and you can use the end of the toilet paper roll to put some circles.
Be very gentle when pressing the edge of something onto the plate.
And let's continue a little bit with the circle theme. I'm gonna press that on, and then I'm gonna pull it off. Okay. There. Okay.
4, center the paper on the Gelli Plate.
All right, now, oops, I'm gonna put this on, center it,
5, rub firmly.
and rub. Okay, that one I really like. I can see my orange, I can see the impression of the yarn, I can see my circles, and some yellow from before. So that one's really cool. I like that one a lot.
Put the print on the drying rack immediately. Part 5, just one more and review.
Okay, I know I said just one more, but one more.
1, apply paint, not too much.
Okay, I'm gonna take some white and put it on there and see what I can pick up from this, what's left. Okay, that white is way too thick on there, on that part. So we're gonna spread it out.
1B, if you put too much paint, clean your brayer off, then go back to rolling it out.
You should be able to see a little bit of what's underneath when you're applying a second layer. Okay, I'll bring that up a little bit closer. I can see where my circles were and some of the lines from where I put the toilet paper roll, where I pressed that in. Oops. And I put my brayer down on its stomach.
2, center your paper.
Okay, so this is my last print, I promise, because I said 3 to 5. And
3, rub firmly.
these are kind of addicting. It's easy to do more because you just want to see what happens next. Okay.
3B, take a peek and see if the paint is sticking to the paper. If not, you can put the paper down and rub more.
I'm going to rub this, oops. I'm going to rub this a little bit more. better.
4. Pull the print.
You know, this wasn't quite as successful as I hoped it would be, but it's pretty good.
4B. With all the paint that is still on the Gelli plate, I should have kept rubbing to pick up more paint.
We can kind of get ghost image of the orange that was a couple of prints ago. Still some of the yellow and the blue. But you could keep this and put another thing on top of it. That's possible too. All right, so that's Gelli plates with textures and patterns. So experiment with what's in the bucket and have fun. Now this one, this piece of paper, it's ready for the drying rack. That's pretty full of different layers of paint. Keep this because it's really beautiful and we can use it for something else later on. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.